both talk about your U.S. youth national team experience and what impact that had on your career? For example, whether it exposed you to scouts that may have, helped pave the way for your pro career, and the playing experience, and maybe any special memories from playing on the U17s and youth national teams?
Yeah, I think for sure it had a big impact in our careers. I know I got scouted from Germany at one of the youth camps in Italy, so I think it's great exposure for us. And me and Bryan have been lucky to have been playing for the youth teams for almost 10 years now, so it's definitely good exposure. You're always playing in top tournaments and everybody's watching these matches.
Yeah, and for me, obviously me and Booth have been in the national team since U14, and it's crazy that we're here together as well. And I signed pro when I was 15, so they gave me the opportunity to go to residency, and then for us to both go to the U17 World Cup, which is good. Playing up with the 2000s, and then still with the U20s, and we both play with the men's national team, and obviously if you're playing with the men's national team, that's obviously great for us. And but yeah, it's always a great experience.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Next up, let's take Brian Sciaretta from American Soccer Now.
Hey, thanks very much, guys. Was wondering if you guys can both comment about this current camp and the team's progress. And Taylor, I know you've been away for a little while because of injury, but the progress you've seen from the first camp to this one. And then also for both or either a little bit about Walker Zimmerman, about him being added to the team as an overager and what he brings, because he's coming obviously from a different generation than you guys, and has some different levels of experience. But anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of quality in this group. And from going from the first camp to this camp, we've definitely improved. We have a lot of young guys, and then obviously, as you said, we have Walker as well, who has just jumped in, and he's definitely a leader for us. He's someone in the back line who's going to help us. But obviously, the roster is not final. There still could be older players that come in and help us. But yeah, we have a lot of quality in this group, and we're looking forward to see what we can do in the Olympics.
Yeah, for me, Taylor pretty much said it all. Having Walker in obviously brings that different level of experience. He's been with the men's national team, and he's an older guy, and he's played so many professional games. And having him here, it's like, he's a leader, and he's also like super nice. He's not just like, oh, like he's playing with a bunch of kids and like that. So that's something that I've liked so far. And like Taylor said, the roster's not final. The Olympic team is only 18, and there's 25 guys here. So, in the back of your head that, there's some people here that aren't going to make the team. And obviously there's still overage players and maybe some players that are with the first team now. So all we can do is just work as hard as we can and, try to make that spot.
Thanks, Brian. Next up, let's take Nick Jacobs from KSHB here in Kansas City.
Yeah, hey guys, my question for you is kind of what's the experience been like there at the facility? What's been your impressions, and overall kind of what your impression of Kansas City's been so far?
Yeah, it's been great. The KC facility has been top class. We've been lucky enough to get out, go to a few restaurants. Food's been good. Weather's been good. So I think it's a good experience so far.
Yeah, I think the facility is amazing. One of the best ones that I've seen. And I've been to a lot of crazy facilities as well. And, I haven't been able to go out that much. I had to come in a day later because my flight got canceled. But other than that, all good things so far.
Thanks, Nick. Next up, let's take Donald Wine from Stars and Stripes.
Thank you, Chris. Hey guys. My question to you is, you both have been in big matches in your club career and even on the youth and national team level. And the Olympics is one of the biggest sporting events in the world. Has that affected your approach as a team as to how you prepare if you guys get the opportunity to go to France?
That's a good question. But I think we all do this because we're good at it, you know. I think everyone that's here has dealt with pressure on and off the field, and I think we know how to handle pressure. So I think we're expecting every game at the Olympics to be a big game, and we're gonna have a lot of pressure because everyone's gonna be watching these games, not just football fans back in America, you know. So I think we're good at handling the pressure and we're used to it.
Yeah, and for me, in my experience, you know, playing for Roma, obviously that's already a different level of pressure. And I was young, so at first it was like, wow, this is a lot, and I had to get adjusted to that. And then even now, this last season, it was a pretty rough season, and you know, we're pretty much fighting for relegation, and obviously that makes the whole locker room stressed, and some people don't know how to act in these certain situations. So I think for me personally, with the experience that I've had, you know, it will set me up if I make the roster for the Olympics.
Thanks, Donald. Next, let's go back to Andrew Jones from the Believe Network.
Perfect. Thanks again, Chris. First, want to ask you, Bryan, in terms of the star tattoos there, when you was able to get them and adding towards your personality there. And we was talking to Duncan the other day, and he mentioned how Jack McGlynn is like the funny guy in the locker room and everything. Like, besides Jack, who else has been such a funny person in the group that you've been building there?
For me, Griffin and Kevin Paredes. Obviously, he's hilarious, but other than Booth, I would say Griffin Yao and Kevin Paredes. Like, I play with Griffin at Westerlo, so obviously we have a good connection. But Griffin and Kevin together, they're some characters for sure.
Cool. Last few questions here. We'll go back to Mike Watella from Soccer America.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about learning languages and what role that's played? It looks like the part of Belgium you played in, Bryan, is that Flemish? It's a bilingual country. But anyway, if both of you could address like how important it was to learn the languages, because you've been in different countries, and how well you've learned those languages.
Yeah, I would say more so in Italy. I think it was more important to like learn Italian quick, because I would say a lot of people in Italy don't speak a lot of English. And you know, when I first moved into my apartment, I was trying to set up the Wi-Fi, and I'm calling the provider, and I'm like, "Do y'all speak English?" And they're like, "No." So even then, I just have no idea what to do. But in Belgium, it's the part that I lived in, and the club as well, was like mainly in English. So fortunate enough, I didn't really have to pick up on any Dutch or French.
Yeah, and same for me. Moving to Munich early, and being in the Bavaria region was somewhere that the language was super important for the locals and the fans, and it's something that the club told all of the foreign players that we're gonna have to learn the language. So it was difficult at the start, obviously, because we were doing really intense lessons, like a couple 3-hour sessions a week for the first 6 months, and yeah, it wasn't easy, but it's something it's helped me. And now moving to the Netherlands, the language is very similar, so I'm able to understand some.
It's almost like in between German and English, huh?
Yeah.
That's yeah. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mike. Next up, we'll take Christian Edler from the Desert News in Salt Lake City. Apologies for butchering that.
You're good. Question for both of you. What would it mean to you to represent the US at the Olympics?
For me, obviously, it'd be a privilege, you know, being American, you know that the Olympics is in a really big tournament, and obviously just sporting event as a whole. And yeah, I mean, it'd be an honor. And you know, when you're younger, you want to play in World Cups and you want to play in Olympics, so it'd be a dream come true.
Yeah, like Bryan said, it's special always when you get the opportunity to play in a big tournament. And like I kind of said before, what makes the Olympics so special is just Americans will watch the games even if they're not fans of soccer. And I think having our families there, having everyone back home supporting us, it'll be special, and it will give us extra motivation as well.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. We'll take our last question now from Brian Sharetta. Back to you, Bryan.
Thank you, guys. I'm driving through a rainstorm here, so apologies if the connection's not great. But listen, I wanted to ask about the challenges of an 18-player roster. Marco hinted on this about a lot more is going to be asked. Like people have to step out of their comfort zone and play extra positions, and I know particularly Bryan, you play right back, but you've played a little bit on the left and winger at FC Dallas, but. What are you asked to do within this team, and how comfortable are you doing it in terms of being able to step in at multiple different positions? And has that been a feature for you so far at this camp? Thank you very much.
For me personally, at the camps that I've been here, I've only really played right back, but I've had experience playing left back, right back, and obviously my whole youth career I was playing winger. So for me, I don't think I would be playing those positions here, but I mean, if I have to do it, then do it. So it's okay.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that. I think an 18-man roster it's a small roster, but I think the game is evolving, and like you said, everyone's being asked to play different positions. But I think we have players here that can do that, and when the time comes, you have to be able to step up and do what's needed for the team.